This isn't right. That's more like it. Hello, welcome to Armchair Craic, new weekly show on the channel with me, Andy, and a few other lads that you'll see later on in the show. We've got plenty to come from this first episode, including a Dortmund preview from our resident European football expert, Steve. We've got reaction to the Women's FA Cup draw from Joe, and I speak to Wolves fan Tom about the game coming up this weekend. So, how are we? Pretty comprehensive result for Newcastle at the weekend. Blowing away, shall we say, Crystal Palace. Didn't really give us much of a game, and back in the top six, back in the big six, where you would say Newcastle belong these days. In case you haven't checked it since last night, Newcastle firmly back in the top six, safely there. We're top five before Sunday. Villa picking up a win against West Ham made sure we dropped back down to sixth, but onwards and upwards. I think the main thing to take away from that league table for us at the minute is that goal difference. I mean, you could pretty much say the entertainers are back. I know there's been debates to say that maybe these lot need a different name than the entertainers, but I mean, here's the stats for you. That right now, these were the stats shown on Match of the Day over the weekend. Just Newcastle United score goals. I mean, look at the things we're ranking top for in terms of the Premier League goals, 24. I mean, we struggled to hit the target from anywhere, never mind inside the box. So, I mean, this is only testament to the upgrades and improvements that Eddie Howe, Jason Tindall and the rest of the coaching staff are making in this team, and the reason why we're on this upwards trajectory that we're on. I'm sure if you're a subscriber to the channel, or in fact, indeed, you're one of our lovely members, you'll have seen all the content we published after the Palace game. I mean, myself and the other lads were all in pretty much agreement that Newcastle dominated that game. Palace didn't really look that threatening at all. I mean, they had a couple of chances. There was a header from a corner early doors, and then a free kick in the second half that Pope saved comfortably. Apart from that, they weren't really there. And I mean, this Palace side have been impressive at times this season. I mean, you'll hear from Tom later on in this episode, Wolves fan. They blew them away, and we just made them look like they were nothing really. A big takeaway from the Palace game, though, was that it is likely to be Sandro Tonali's last game at the club. Obviously, it's been reported everywhere what's going on with that situation, and I know me and the rest of the lads on the channel wish Sandro the absolute best, and we hope he's now going to get the help that he needs to help fight this gambling addiction, which it's a very, very serious thing. And yeah, hopefully, however long this incoming ban is going to last. I know Sky Sports reported this morning that Italian media is saying it could be 10 months. So hopefully the time away from the game can help him to battle this addiction and overcome it. Now then, big game tomorrow night at St James's Park. Dortmund are here. The Yellow Wall, the Yellow Army, whatever you want to call them. This atmosphere is going to be special, and you'll notice Armchair season ticket holder here hasn't been lucky in the ballot again after the PSG game. I know my expectations are in the absolute sky, but I believe we can do it again. And I mean, before I get into my little bit of preview, let's hear from Steve.
A lot of talent in this team going forward, attacking wise. So it's looking good. It's looking good going into this big game at St. James's Park versus Borussia Dortmund for match day 3 of the UEFA Champions League. Now, for me, what I've seen of this season from Borussia Dortmund, I think I've maybe watched all but one of their games. They played the likes of Hoffenheim, Freiburg, PSG away. Played AC Milan at home as well. They played their most recent game, obviously, against Werder Bremen at the Signal Iduna Park, which we'll be traveling to in our next Champions League game after this one. They have shown games where it's like, okay, they can score goals. Marco Reus, Julian Brandt, Daniel Malin. Krug only has, I don't think he's scored this season. I think he's got 1 or 2. German international striker. He's decent, but I don't know if he's really Borussia Dortmund level. For me, they're a team that attacks well, but it's not fully there yet. Against Werder Bremen, they had a few really good chances to score. Malin had a chance. Nemekia had a chance where he made a fantastic run. He had a pass to Malin also that he squared across, and Malin he didn't connect with it quite right. Royce got the assist on the goal. It was an amazing cross and finished up really well. So Dortmund, for me, they're a team that in midfield, I think they struggle to kind of control games, which is where I feel confident about Newcastle. At home, we'll be able to control the game, I think, for the majority of it, but they do have some very good technical players with some speed, like Julian Brandt, Reina, I think should probably be getting more starts to them as well. And Sebastian Aller can bang in goals as well. So it's a tough team, definitely. It's a really, they've got incredible fans as well. But I'll go for a 3-2 Newcastle win. I think it'll be a great game of football, to be honest. And we'll be keeping, I think everyone will be keeping an eye on that around the world to see how we do. It's going to be a great game, though, I think. So, thanks for joining. Away the lads.
Nice one for that one, Steve. Thank you. So, Dortmund. I'm definitely more confident for this one than I was PSG. They lost a few of their big names in the summer, including Jude Bellingham, who's just... I mean, thank God he's not playing. Guerrero as well went to rivals Bayern on a free, which I was pretty amazed that he was let go on a free. He's definitely one of Dortmund's main players in kind of their counter-attacking football. They like to play. Like Steve said there, they've still got a lot of threat about them, but I think we'll do a good job tomorrow night and pick up another 3 points and keep us top of that Group F, which you can see overlaid now on your screens. We're looking pretty healthy there at the minute. Moving on to Wolves this weekend, which is live on Sky Sports, and guess where else it's live? Yes, Newcastle Fans TV is proudly sponsored by Green King Sport. Green King Sport are literally showing every televised Newcastle game this season, so we'll be there in the Junction in City Centre with a live watch-along of the Wolves game. It's been a few since we've been in there, but I'm absolutely buzzing and can't wait to be back and soak in the atmosphere of a Green King pub on match day. So, how are we all feeling for Wolves? Wolves gives me, in the Molineux, gives me a bit of PTSD, I think, from that game, the last game before the takeover. Just remembering, thinking that was it, we're done as a club, we're going down again, and to where we are now, I mean... Christ, what a time for a reflection, eh? So it was 1-1 there last season, Maxi saving us later on with an absolute worldie from the edge of the box. So I'm now joined by Wolves fan Tom Marshall. So Tom, big result for yourselves at the weekend. Gary O'Neill getting his own back on Bournemouth after being shunned in the summer. What were your thoughts on that game, mate?
Yeah, so our result of the weekend, we were away down at the Vitality, which was a bittersweet result for our manager, Gary O'Neill, who got palmed off by them last season so they could go on to their bigger and better things with their fancy manager from Spain. That's gone well for them. As Gary went there and we beat them 2-1 after going from 1-0 down. And if anyone was lucky enough to watch Monday Night Football last night, you'll see exactly how he did it. And he came across very well by saying about his pivot and how he wanted his midfield to be a 3-on-2. And because of his inside knowledge on Bournemouth and watching them so heavily, I think that was partly the reason why we were able to hit back at them, even though we did go 1-0 down. I mean, to start within the game, we had Pedro Neto hit the bar, and he's been absolutely phenomenal for us this season, one of the top assisters in the league. He got the ball out wide, cut in, hits the crossbar. You think, we're going to be in for a decent day here. And then not more than 20 minutes later, we find ourselves 1-0 down in typical Wolves fashion. Set ourselves up in a back five because that was how we did against Man City, and that proved quite well for us. Even though Bournemouth and Man City are complete polar opposite ends of the scale, but Yeah, we were good. Our goal scorers, we had Mateus Cunha scored the first one, which is pretty rare. He's a good player, very good sort of like number 10 for us, but he was playing as like a lone striker in this sort of system at the moment because obviously Fabio's out of favour. Big Sasa Kaladzic came on and got the winner, but he's nowhere near a full game match fitness. But if you can have a guy that's 6'8", Austrian, bring him off the bench and only has about about 10 minutes Premier League football in him and scores 2 winners. They're precious points to us in a position that we're at down at the bottom.
So Tom, who do you think Newcastle fans should look out for on your side, and who do you think's been your overall best performer so far this season?
Well, yeah, it's a toss-up between Pedro Neto and Hwang Hee-chan. So, or Hee-chan Hwang, whoever you want to pronounce the name. But yeah, those two have been the star standout players, to be fair. As a duo, they were the best duo in the league for setting each other up as a two. A lot of teams have like a sole one striker and things like this, or have 3 players that set each other up alternatively. Does tend to be, apart from at the weekend being pretty much an anomaly, it tends to be either one of them two that are producing the goods for Wolves at the moment. But it was nice to see the likes of Cunha, Kaladzic putting themselves on the score sheet as well for us. But yeah, most of the success for Wolves in this season's come through Pedro Neto, really. You give the ball, he's absolutely fearless. And if I was any sort of defender or fullback in the Premier League, I'd be fearing coming up against him in the form that he's in. And there's no wonder that people like Arteta have been so keen on him for like 3 seasons now, trying to keep chucking money at us for him. And he's happy where he is and he's playing well. So it's up to him if he wants to make that step. But he's doing it as well for internationally as well. Now he's getting recognition to go and play for Portugal and the like. So which is good. Same with Hwang. He goes out and scores goals, gets assists for South Korea, which he always did do, but now he's doing it in a Wolves shirt, which is even more important for us to see and reap the rewards for that. That's how we're getting the points on the board that we've got and how we're sitting in like a pretty decent like 11th, 12th position now, depending on last night's games, because it's a massive mixture down the bottom of that table. Like it's a cut above up there at the moment, and we're sort of in our own little league down the bottom. Because we had literally spent no money until the final day of the season, where we just went and randomly bought a load of people no one had heard of. But it's all sort of coming together after your manager leaves you a few days before the first game of the season. And as you know, the best managers all come from Bournemouth anyway.
So big game this weekend. Both teams coming in to it, bouncing off a win. How are you feeling for it, and what's your prediction?
Yeah, I've been looking into it, to be fair. I mean, down at our gaff, we usually do okay-ish against you lot. We play quite well. We turn up. So I've been away to Newcastle a few times where we've played well against you. And I went to the game last season where we had you for 90 minutes and then Hwang, for some reason, crossed it across his own box and saint-maximin scored that absolute worldie past us. But, I mean, I look at Newcastle and they're absolutely firing, aren't they, at the moment? You put that many goals past Crystal Palace, and that was a Palace team that tore us apart earlier in the season. So you look at that and think, oh dear. But then this is Wolves. We've just constantly surprised people in every game. We're one of them coop and busting sides where everyone expects us to lose, and then we'll go and win randomly. Because I can't tell you. I watch them every week. I still can't tell you how the games are going to go. But yeah, I think it's going to be a typical Newcastle Wolves 1-1 for me, because we went to a stage of doing that for ages with yous. And yeah, I think you're not. Well, yeah, obviously you beat Villa earlier in the season. I don't think you're too dissimilar to they are, though. And we've got the draw against them. I think you'll play pretty similar to how they play, and we'll deal with it pretty similar to how we dealt with them. So yeah, I think it'll be 1-1.
Thanks for that, Tom. You can catch Tom and the rest of Sweet and Sour Soccer in the description below if you want to check out what they do. Yeah, so Tom give his prediction there, 1-1. I don't think it's going to be as close. I'm always confident in our lads and what they can do. This is like 2 predictions in one coming here. I think we're going to be on a massive high from tomorrow night. I think we are going to beat Dortmund at home. Maybe not by as much as we beat PSG, but I think in terms of overall game, I think we're just going to outclass Dortmund tomorrow. And I'm gonna say 3-1. You know, the Wolves games always seem to be tight games, but I just think we're on a run of form at the minute and we look unbelievable. I'm gonna say 3-1 again. So here's a reminder, just in case you needed it, you don't. Newcastle are live on TNT Sports tomorrow night as they face Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League, and we're live again on Sky Sports away at the Molineux at Wolves. Now, moving on to Newcastle United women. The FA Cup draw for the women's was this week, and here's Joe giving us his reaction to the draw and how the women have getting on so far this season.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Joe from Newcastle Fans TV here, bringing you a little update right outside of Hall grounds. So, the FA Cup draw came out at 1 o'clock Monday afternoon. We are drawn away against Mancunian Unity Women. They're currently sitting in the Northwest Regional League. They're second, fighting on top of the table. They're on quite a decent little streak as of late, high scoring, high intensity. Seems like there's quite a community around there. Girls, they stick together, you know, they're close, a lot like the Newcastle United women. So yes, I'm very interested. It's going to be nice though. I think they'll give her a very, very tough game regardless of that. But I'm thinking it's progression for us in our first FA Cup game so far, now that we're in the higher league. It's one of those games as well, I mean, where you can start giving some other players maybe a bit of time. I know we've got Ellen Valentine. She is the goalkeeper who's just currently came up from the development team. Seen her training out on Sunday, and yeah, she was seeming quite good, putting in her paces, and this might be a chance to give her a bit of a shot with the first team. You could see the likes of Anna Soulsby's coming back into the team, who I'd love to see come back into the team a bit more. I think she brings a lot to the team, so putting her against the Mancunian Unity ladies could really put her in there and remind her what we've got in Anna Soulsby, you know, and that's a beauty of having the depth of this team as well. We've got players like that who we can bring back in should there be injuries, should someone else fall out of form, which does happen. And I can come back in, we can bring that in. You know, we've got the likes of Jazz McQuaid, who's been getting a lot of second half sub-ons. You know, she could get some more time, maybe try and get a full 90 minutes out of Jazz, which is up to it and such. So yeah, I think Mancunian Unity is going to be a very, very, very interesting game against yet another Manchester team in a cup draw for Newcastle United. What is going on with that, people? Let us know below if you think that is a curse or not. So moving on from that, we are 7 games unbeaten in the league, and I think this is a testament to what not just the new players are doing, like I said in a video a few weeks back, but a testament to what the current players who have had it since last season, what they've been bringing to the team. I mean, I hate to bring it up, but the last couple of games, Bridget Galloway hasn't made it onto the score sheet, but that's perfectly fine. Bridget, we know what you can do. We know we'll bring it back. That's brilliant. Keep the momentum up, lass. But then you've seen Katie Barker come back into the team, and Katie Barker netting a goal against Huddersfield. And the driving force that Katie brings on, she's playing a bit of a different role of what I was seeing her play last season. A testament to players like Charlotte Potts. You know, I feel like we don't speak about Potsy quite as much, but Potsy is still an absolute stalwart at the back. Amazing, a driving forward force. The way her and Stubbs, being a new player, Amber Stubbs to us, the way them two work together. Sometimes Stubbs will take the ball forward, sometimes Charlotte will take the ball forward, but one of them has always got the other's back. I love to see that. Keep that up, lasses. So yes, 7 games unbeaten, very nice, sitting second in the table with 2 games in hand, I should say. Yes, I'm very, 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 very pleased with that. Lovely, lovely it is. Sunday, we go against Nottingham Forest in the cup. Now, I have went on record saying that I'm not so scared by Forest. I think the only people who really challenge us in this league right now is Burnley, as proven by the 0-0 draw. That said, I do think we do need to be a little bit careful going into this game. I've noticed the last couple of games, especially last week against Burnley, Becky played a bit more of a defensive style. You know, her and Andy had the lasses not quite as aggressive as usual and playing more of a solid back 4 rather than that back 3 we've seen them play, but heavily focusing on the wings. You know, we haven't been driving it through the middle too much. We've been focusing on the wings, which, by the way, Tyler Dodds, Naomi Bador, lasses, keep up what you're doing, man. That's absolutely fantastic. Tyler, you're a feeder. You wherever you can, there's balls getting chucked straight into that box. I love to see it. She is wonderful on the wing, and so is Naomi Bador. I think Naomi Bador personally has had a best game for Black and White against Huddersfield on Sunday. It was absolutely fantastic the way she played. She was constantly up and down the wing. She was winning balls back. I mean, she pretty much pocketed any player who came towards her. Very, very chuffed. I think if we play a bit more of that defensive style against Forest, I see a win coming, and whether that's 1 or 2-0, that doesn't matter as long as we've got the win and we'll progress to the next round. So let us know what you think with Nottingham Forest this Sunday. Gateshead International Stadium as well. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, another beautiful stadium and venue to chuck off the list for the women. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It has been Joe from Newcastle Fans TV. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you subscribe. And we'll see you at the next match. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that, Joe. And that wraps up everything for the first episode of Armchair Craic. Let us know what you thought of the new format. If there's anything else you'd like to be involved in the show, we are going to look at getting more opposition fans on, other Newcastle content creators, whatever. Let us know in the comments what you'd like to see. And for a chance to get featured in next week's episode, make sure to get your predictions down in the comments. I'll be putting up all the right ones next week. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, give it a share. It always helps the channel, and we're eternally thankful for all your support. Yeah, see you next week.